What is up, soccer friends? Welcome to Kickback Committee. We're so glad you're here. I'm your host, Susannah Fuller, and I am absolutely delighted to be joined by one of my goats, my great friend in soccer, the one and only Matt Doyle. Matt, it's so good to see you, my guy. How's it going? Have you settled into your new home? I see the backdrop is looking very sharp.
That is all the work of my wonderful wife, Rebecca, who has basically put her entire life on hold for the past 6 weeks to make everything shiny and beautiful here in my household. I'd say we're about 95% done.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
that's really impressive.
It's been a lot. I do not remember moving being this overwhelming in the past. But I don't know. I guess as you get older, I've developed hoarder tendencies. So I had a lot more stuff this time.
Are you a sentimental guy? Do you? Yeah. It's hard because there are things I realized this too when we moved into a house, which neither Ian and I had never lived in a house before. But I was I have accumulated so much stuff, and so much of the things that I have not gotten rid of are because they hold some sort of nostalgia or sentimental value to me. And I'm like, is that healthy?
Yeah.
Do I need to shed that personality trait? I don't know.
So I go through phases where I can do that, where I can just get rid of it. But then it was yesterday or the day before, Rebecca's holding up a box of soccer scarves, and there's 30 scarves in there, and I was like, I guarantee you we can get rid of 90% of those. And they go through it, and it's I kept 90% of them. It's an MLS Cup 2013 scarf. I can't get rid of that.
I know.
So, stuff like that.
It's I'm completely the same. But what's nice is that as you get older, oftentimes you have more places to put things.
Yes.
So our hoarding tendencies can be a little bit disguised.
Yes, and then exacerbated, which is great.
I know, it's wonderful. Okay, so how have you settled into kind of the freelance life? I know before we got on here, you said it has been a sprint since January, and the last time we had you on, it was pretty fresh, this new sort of you being your own boss and calling the shots. So how has it been? How has it evolved?
It's been really the evolution has been very straightforward. It's basically I picked up everything I was doing for MLS soccer for 15 years, and I brought it with me to my own TacticsFreeZone, to my own thing, for the written. And then there's this aspect, which is the fun part, which is going on podcasts with you, going on podcasts with Goss, and I'm filling in for Tom on a podcast with Todd Ramos. And that's really fun. And then there's the other aspect of it, which is I'm freelance now. I have to pick up the phone or at least answer the phone when somebody calls me, because that might be a job, and I should be interested in, having jobs and making money and all that stuff that honestly, Susan, I didn't think about it for 15. I was comfortable at MLSsoccer.com. I was not super interested in freelancing. And now it's this whole different aspect of my, it's actually really cool, and I'm having fun with it, but it's this weird emotional burden to be putting yourself in, am I going to say yes, or are they going to say yes or not? And this really weird limbo for me that I'm still getting used to a month and a half in.
Yeah, I completely sympathize. I've been a freelancer, then I was staff, and now I'm back being a freelancer. And it's funny because you go through periods where you're oh, this is great. This is wonderful. And I feel really comfortable. And you might have a few things lined up. And so you kind of are take a little deep breath. And then you have these moments where you're oh my God, I don't know what's coming next. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And it's very hard to manage those emotions. It is and I will tell you, it continues. It's just a roller coaster, but you'll kind of find a nice, sort of happy middle level where you can tell when you are going to start peaking, the anxiety is going to go up, and you just kind of like bring it down. Be like, you know what?
Pour yourself a drink.
Exactly.
Right?
It's going to be fine.
2 parts mezcal, 2 parts Campari.
It's better to be your own boss. It's better to be your own boss. It's great. Your schedule is yours. You're doing great.
Thanks.
It's so awesome to see you on all these different things and still being your true authentic self in your voice. And I'm just, I feel like you're like spreading your wings right now. And
a little bit, and hopefully lovely. Soaring,
you are soaring.
We'll see how long that lasts. Yeah,
you're a member of Kickback Committee. Come on,
that's true.
Listen,
true. That's
nothing gives you wings like that. I'll tell you that much. Just a reminder, everybody, Kickback Committee is part of Kickback Soccer Media. Find us on Blue Sky and Instagram. Make sure you check out all our other podcasts, including Soccer Wise. We've got First Touch Weekly, which is a very cool, one of a kind World Cup 2026 dedicated show. Also, we're now on SiriusXM, so make sure you search for us on that SiriusXM app and catch us on select days on SiriusXM FC 157. All right, we've got a lot to get into on today's show. We've got some notable results at the weekend and a trend, Doyle, that I'm noticing in MLS that I'm going to ask you about. Very curious to get your thoughts on this. We've got UEFA Playoffs happening this week that will determine the final 4 European teams to compete in the Summer's World Cup. So we're going to hit on what we're watching. The U.S. men's national team is gearing up for a pair of friendlies against Belgium and Portugal. We're going to chat about the roster for these matches, what that means for this summer, and what we want to see. We're going to get a little bit of nostalgia here. We've talked about it. Doyle's going to give us his favorite World Cup moment. And I'm really, really excited to hear what this is because I feel like it could go in many directions. We'll also get his thoughts on how best to determine your World Cup second team, just like we did last week with Walker. We're trying to put together a sort of BuzzFeed style quiz for people to take so they know. Obviously, we're cheering for the U.S., but you got to have a second team in the World Cup. So we're going to help you determine who that second team is. And we love reality TV on committee. So there is no better reality TV competition right now than March Madness. And Doyle, both of our teams are dancing.
Still alive.
Dancing right now. Sweet 16, baby. So we're gonna have some fun banter on all of that. But let's kick things off. Let's get into some of the notable weekend results. Per usual, the weekend brought us some MLS chaos, and we love it. Some really interesting results. A lot of goals, including, got to mention, one by our very own committee member, Walker Zimmerman, who scored the game winner for Toronto and a 2-1 win over Columbus. It was a beautiful header, header. I was watching this back, and Ian, my husband, was like, he is impossible to mark. He was like, the guy is just impossible to mark. And if you get him, like, he's so athletic, he's so big and uses his body so well and has such good control with his head. And he just put this one in the corner of the net, and it was glorious.
It was glorious. It was his welcome to Toronto moment. I know he had played a couple of games before this, but it was like the first moment where Toronto fans were like, oh, this is what having this guy on the team means on that part of the field. And then the big thing for me is, like, Walker is an amazing floor raiser. As I said, like, your defense is always going to be at least this good if he is out there, and that's what they've needed for the longest time. So it was like, look, man, he's a guy that we've all been watching for a dozen years or so.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah, been in the league a minute, and to see him hopefully reviving this once proud franchise, it's awesome. It's really cool to see.
I agree. I love it. Between him and Daniel Shallowy, it's like, like these are two guys that I've loved watching over the years covering MLS, and it's actually really cool to see them doing well. So we're also going to take credit for it because clearly Walker appeared on Kickback Committee last week. So
the Kickback Committee bump. So
it's a thing. Yep. It's a thing, and it's real, people. You're welcome. Also, another committee member doing great things. Brianna Pinto helped the Chicago Stars get their first win of the season over the KC Current, a 2-1 win in absolutely dire, miserable conditions. Matt Doyle. Speaking as a Chicagoan, the fall spring is such a real thing in Chicago. And I will say, on Saturday in Chicago, I spoke to my parents. They're like, it's beautiful. It's 70 degrees. We're out here. Your dad's like starting to get things going in the yard. It was, the optimism was at an all-time high. And then Sunday, it was like just kidding, back to like low 30s. And the Chicago Stars are playing at Northwestern University right now, and their stadium is literally right on the lake. And it is nasty, bitter cold, that wind whipping through, like not fun conditions.
They call it the Windy City, right? And there's that famous, like, I think it was a tweet about like living in Chicago. It's like, why would I choose to live in a place where the wind actually causes me physical pain?
It hurts.
And that's what it looked like with that game. I didn't watch the whole game. I watched the highlights, and then I watched some of the interviews afterwards. And the players all looked like they were crying because it was so miserable. Like, I don't know, man. Chicago's a great town.
I love it.
I love
it for 8 months out of the year.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, it does hurt. Like your face hurts, your hair hurts. Like it's so cold.
Not mine.
Fair point. But yeah, like your bald head, Matt Doyle, would just be an icicle. Like you would lose entire feeling up there. It's crazy. It is crazy, crazy cold. So credit to the Chicago Stars. Hopefully that's the last of the bitter cold, but you just never know. We've had snow in April in Chicago, so I make no promises to Brianna and the Chicago Stars, but well done on your first win, guys. All right, Doyle. I've been watching MLS. What are we? 4 weeks in now? 5 weeks into the MLS season, and there's a trend that I'm noticing that I wanted to ask you about. So I feel like every weekend there have been extraordinarily lopsided results that we're seeing. Okay, so like this weekend, Nashville beat Orlando 5-0. Charlotte 6-1. Over the New York Red Bulls. Colorado 4-1 over SKC. Last weekend, New England 6-1 over Cincinnati. Vancouver 6-0 over Minnesota. Why is this happening? Why is this phenomenon occurring in MLS right now? Is it down to like there are just teams that are that much better than their opponents? Or I don't know if there's something else at work here. I wanted to get your take on this.
So I think there's more red cards, right? So I think that has been part of, certainly Charlotte Red Bulls. That was an animating factor for it. And then I think this is kind of like the nerd's explanation, but teams are much better than even a few years ago about film study, about understanding how to exploit disorganization. And teams are just naturally more disorganized at the start of the year than they are at the end of the year. So I think that's what that's kind of what we're seeing here. At least that's my theory on it. And then a further aspect of it is over the past 4 years, since 2022, we have seen a convergence of teams playing with the ball, possession teams, and those being the teams that actually win stuff. And so there has been sort of an onus on everyone up and down the standings to try to use the ball more. And it's hard to do that. And when you do that, you're naturally taking more risks than if you just put 11 guys behind the ball and play on the counter. So look at Minnesota United. Last week, they play Vancouver. They try to use the ball. They try to play like Vancouver, and they get ripped 6-0. This week, we're playing Seattle. Everybody behind the ball, 5-4-1, absorb and counter. So I think there's just like this cultural pressure now. And I'll put my hand up and I'll say I've been a part of it because I hate counterattacking soccer. And I make fun of teams that play that way because I want to see everybody play with courage, right? So I have actually fed the beast here. But like doing that is hard. Doing that opens you up to getting destroyed. And I think that's part of what we've. So what I'm saying is, it's my fault. Sis. I did it. It's on me.
Everyone. I mean, the thing is that like I don't necessarily hate it. I've just been surprised. I'm like, God, this is wild. Like there are teams that are just absolutely carving other teams up right now. But what your explanation makes a whole lot of sense, Doyle. Thank you for shedding some light for me.
Trying anyway. Just making stuff up on the fly. Does it sound plausible?
This is what isn't that your job?
Yeah, pretty much, yes. 100% that. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay, so for you, Doyle, thinking about all the results of MLS this weekend, is there a performance that stood out to you for good reasons or bad reasons? I'll let you dictate here.
I mean, we'll go in the complete other direction. Yeah. San Jose's 1-0 win at Vancouver. First of all, that goal from Bo LaRue was awesome. Like, just out of nowhere, Thunder Bastard to, the upper V, couldn't strike it better than that. But I was high on the Quakes entering the season, and I know that is danger, right? Because the Quakes have been a joke for so long. But like, I thought this would be a good team, and to play the way they did last week against Seattle in what was ultimately a loss. Seattle's defense in the box was incredible in that game. But then to follow that up by going to Vancouver and getting a 1-0 win. Now, granted, it was a rotated Vancouver side, but like, we're getting a pretty good amount of evidence here that San Jose are legit, that they are a team that defends from the front. They defend well at the back. They can use the ball. They can play on the break. They can kill you on set pieces. And, the guy in charge of it knows a thing or two about winning.
I was just going to say how much of this is down to the Bruce Arena factor, who just has this reputation of turning bad teams into winners.
Yeah, he, Bruce's superpower as a manager is he gets the vibes right. He gets everybody to buy in. And even if he's not really considered the greatest tactician in the world, you could take a mediocre tactical game plan, and if everybody is executing it at 100%, then you are going to kill a team that has a perfect game plan and 80% execution. Like, that's what, like, getting the players to try that hard matters. So that's what we're seeing from the Quakes. Like, they are one of the best pressing teams in the league now, but they do it in a way where they're not allowing themselves to be gashed going in the other, like, balls over the top, or just, straight through, up back through, playing to the center forward's feet. And that's Bruce, right? That's what his Galaxy team was like. That's what his Revs team was like. And there's, little differences between that. Like, the Revs played through Carlos Heel, who was a true number 10. And the Galaxy played more diffuse, Robbie Keane, Landon Donovan, and all that. But it's like the vibes and the structure being good, that'll get you trophies. And I don't think the Quakes are quite there yet in terms of having enough talent. But in terms of having the vibes, in terms of having the structure, this is a 55, 60-point team, folks.
I love that Matt Doyle is a vibes guy, because I have been a huge proponent of vibes being extremely important for winning teams for so long. And it sounds kind of, I don't know, just a bit naive, or like you don't really know what you're talking about if you say no, it's a vibes thing, but it matters. It actually does matter. And when you see the teams that have won and have historically like had success, like, they're gelling. They're playing for each other. They're playing for their manager. Like that, it does matter, people. The vibes. Oh, yeah.
Ask any pro player, ask any manager, ask Ian.
Like,
what's the most important thing?
He said that's the number one thing he said last year. He was like, those guys loved each other and fought like hell for each other. Like that was, and he was like, we weren't really better, like quality wise than any other team in League One, but like they fought like hell for each other. And I was like, there you go.
So the question then becomes, at what level are the vibes a leading indicator or a lagging indicator? And by that, I mean, look, there's a certain level of the game. We're probably talking like the top 20, 25 teams in the entire world, where the vibes are not good. The players are so good, they will know if the tactics aren't good enough. And if the tactical approach isn't good enough, then the vibes are going to suffer because of that. And that's when the vibes being off is more of a lagging indicator, whereas in other situations, it can be, including in MLS, right? Because like, we have really good tactical coaches here. We have really smart players. We do not have any of the top 15 to 20 teams in the world. It's just the way it is, period. Yeah. I think the vibes come first, and then you sort of backload the tactical approach onto that and figure it out. But I do think that there's probably a point in the world game where it switches, where you have to have the tactics right. And if you don't, the players will know. They know they don't have a chance to win because of your tactic. I think it's what happened with Manchester City or Manchester United. I think that was like the whole Ruben Amorim thing. It was like he had the tactics wrong, and therefore the vibes were always going to be screwed.
100%. I think you're seeing that a little bit with Liverpool this season as well. You know, it really, really does matter. And I think that, you know, Liverpool spent an absurd amount of money this summer to get incredible talent. You look at that team, that roster, you're like, Jesus. I mean, it is absolutely stacked with some of the world's best, like elite talent, and it has not come together on the pitch, and it has been a wildly inconsistent season for them. And I don't think that Arne Slot has gotten it right. I think the players sense that, and I don't think they're playing for him. I think he's lost the locker room a bit. So like, you can have all the talent in the world, if it does not come together tactically, to your point, it's not going to work. It's not a recipe for success. If you think about, Doyle, some of the teams in MLS where the vibes are not so good, who would you say is riding the struggle bus on the vibes front?
I mean,
now the most.
We have enough data in terms of just results to just look at the standings and pick teams near the bottom. It's not a great time to be in Ohio. The Crew, having gone from, you know, I think the most beautiful soccer team in MLS history to like a vanilla 4-4-2 team, with Diego Rossi having to make 100-yard sprints to defend in his, like, that is not, you could see the vibes falling apart in real time. And it's happened even faster and more comprehensively for Cincinnati until the last 10 minutes of that game. And this was a wild game because they were down 3-2 at home to a bad Montreal team. They go down a man, and it looks like, you know, this coming off of that 5-1 loss at Tigres midweek in CONCACAF, like an all-time gut punch result, for them to put it together over the final 10 minutes and sneak out a 4-3 win. Maybe that fixes the vibes for Pat Noonan and company. But man, it's hard to hang your hat on that given the volume of what we've seen from Cincy so far this year.
Did not see this start to the season for Cincinnati coming at all. At all. Do we do this to John Parker and talk about Philadelphia? Is that so mean? Or do we give him a little reprieve right now?
I think we can talk about them. I think we could speak respectfully about the Philadelphia Union. What's your take on the Union so far, Sooz?
They got rid of all their good players and they stink now? That's my take.
I think that is a pretty fair take.
I like Bradley Carnell a lot, you know, like this is like, I want them to do well. I want this for him. I felt like he got a bad shake in St. Louis. And so I was excited for him to come into Philadelphia and have success last year. Like that was really good. But then you can't take away all the elite talent and expect to have the same kind of results. And I don't know. Yeah, I feel for him, but I'm also like, this is, you know, what did you expect?
So that's the weird thing is I don't think they honestly answered that question because they sold honestly, I think their three best players in Ty Baribo and Jakob Glesnes and Kai Wagner, and they didn't adequately replace them. But it's more than just losing the talent. It's losing the structure. Yeah. And this is the thing about the Union. They want to develop and sell players. And to an extent, that's what they did with all three of these guys. And that's good business, except when you sell so much of the sort of superstructure of what makes your team functional, the next group of players you get in who are younger, less proven, less professional, they're not going to have the context within which they can sort of maximize their talent and thus the team maximize their results. So you're taking these guys who you're sort of hoping turn into $10 or $15 million players, and you're putting them in a system where they're going to look like $1 or $2 million players at best. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they thought all of that through. Like, the best way to develop and sell young players isn't to field a team of purely young players. It's to have 6 or 7 high-level veterans and put the 3 or 4 young guys in there so they're playing next to someone who's going to raise their level. And the Union completely ripped their heart out when they sold those 3 guys in particular.
100% agree. 100% agree. There has to be the right combination. And we love it. I mean, you have been a play your kids proponent from the jump, but if they are not surrounded by a level of player that, at least has been there before and can kind of like help them acclimate to bigger game experience and those like professional soccer situations, like it's too much to ask of these young kids to figure it out themselves.
For sure.
Too much to ask. So yeah, I know it's sad times in Philly. How about the vibes being high on Nashville? I mean, are they the best team in the league right now, Matt Doyle?
They might be. Beating Miami in that series that was a mountain for them because we know how Miami has tortured them over the years. So getting past Miami, even a Miami team that's struggling a little bit, it is a huge hurdle. And then following that up with ripping Orlando City limb from limb, like it feels like Nashville's playing the best soccer in the league, and it feels like now they're going into the quarterfinals against Club America, who are the biggest and most successful team in North American history. I'm not going to say Nashville's the favorites, but I would be 0% shocked if they got past Club America here and into the semifinals, and at that point, just go win the damn thing.
They're cooking. They've got some swagger right now too. Like there was just a confidence about this team, which is really, really fun to watch. I'm super stoked about Nashville this season.
They are like the perfect example of what I was talking about before, about how there's an onus on coaches and teams now to be more expansive and ambitious with the ball. Because think about it, 2 years ago, they were bunker and counter.
Defensive team.
And that was it. That was it. And now if you look at this team, like last year, they added a lot more stuff. They were still mostly a downhill team, but they added a lot more stuff with the ball. And now this year, they're going to like a 3-2-2-3 in possession, very methodical buildup. They're occasionally releasing the deeper lying midfielders to add numbers in the attack. Like I think Yazbek's gotten more box touches this year than he had all of last season. And so I think maybe teams around the league are seeing what BJ Callahan's done and saying like, oh, I have to do that. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to execute, but Nashville are sure making it look pretty easy.
Are they, I mean, you said that like Columbus a few years ago were playing the most attractive brand of football for you. Like for Nashville, is that the case right now? Like the just in terms of the way that BJ Callahan is having this team set up?
I mean, they've taken a big step.
Yeah.
They're probably in that top tier. Vancouver, San Diego, they're up there as well. No, I don't think anybody is quite as pretty as peak 2024, 23, 24 Columbus were. But it's nice to see that the league has tilted in that direction because at the start of the decade, everybody was playing against the ball. Like everything. Yeah. Yep.
Look at us playing pretty football in MLS. We love to see it. Quickly, before we move on, the reports are that Antoine Griezmann could be on his way to Orlando this summer. Is this going to help them? Is this the answer? Is it an answer for Orlando? What are they getting here, Doyle?
I mean, he's still a really good player in the league.
Yeah,
like he's been a great two-way player. And if you look at the way this team has defended this year, they need defensive contributions everywhere. So it's weird to think
that's not the problem.
Yeah. Antoine Griezmann, but like he'll help, right? And then you hope he helps culturally because the
vibes. Vibes. Yeah. It all comes back to vibes. I mean, because he's a vibes guy.
Yes. But man, there needs to be. Man. It feels like this needs a tear down and rebuild. And they got really close in 24 to getting to MLS Cup, and it turns out that was their best chance, and didn't quite pull it off. And pretty rapid descent from there. And the next couple, like, it's not just going to be Antoine Griezmann. There's going to be a lot more new names and faces to learn if you're an Orlando fan.
Reinforcements coming. All right, Doyle, let's talk about some UEFA playoffs, shall we? Because they're happening this week. 16 teams are going to be competing. There's 12 group winners and 4 Nations League teams competing for the final 4 World Cup spots. So it's a single leg semifinal and then followed by a final. Okay. So the US fans are going to be watching very closely the results of Pathway C. Okay. Because we've got Turkey versus Romania and Slovakia taking on Kosovo. And so in our group, we know we're already going to face Paraguay and Australia. So whoever wins this Group C pathway is going to complete USA's group in the World Cup. I think everyone can kind of agree, right, that Turkey is the favorite, right? Yep. We faced them last summer. It wasn't great. We lost 2-1. Like I think there was a Jack McGlynn like banger, and then it was just like meow. I remember being very frustrated after that and being like, I can't believe we have to compete in a World Cup in a year because we don't look ready at all. Mind you, this was like last June, was it? Mm-hmm. July? Mm-hmm. June. So it's been some time, and there have been some very positive results for the US since. But Doyle, I guess like if you're Pochettino, you're watching this Group C pathway, like what are you assuming that Turkey is going to be the team? Like what are you kind of watching for? What are you hoping for out of this?
I don't think you get caught up in hoping for X, Y, or Z. I think you run a scout on all 4 teams, and you just have to prepare, because these types of knockout situations, weird stuff happens, and I don't expect Kosovo to go through, but they could, and so you run a scout on all 4 teams, and you prepare 4 different game plans, but 10 days from now we'll know who we're facing, and then you really drill down on what they. And with that Turkey game, I'm not saying you throw it in the bin entirely, but it's a really different U.S. team. Like the personnel has changed, the vibes have changed, the tactics have changed for the U.S. drastically since September. And Turkey will be a different team as well. Personally, I like the idea of facing Turkey because I think they'll come out and play. Against Paraguay and against Australia, the U.S. is going to have to carry the game. It's going to have to break down teams that'll sit a little bit deeper. Turkey probably not going to play that way, probably going to come up and actually try to carry the game. And that would maybe allow the U.S. to get out and get into space where I think probably at our best. So I don't know. Whoever goes through, the U.S. should be expected to advance from the group anyway. Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to see Turkey go through. I would rather get a game like that under our belts before the knockout rounds.
Rather than say like one of the other teams getting through and having it kind of the US cruise through the group stage. You would rather have them just like have a bit of a challenge.
So I don't want to put it that way because there's no cruising through the group stage.
That's
we should
true.
Know that as Americans right now. There's no such thing.
Very true, Doyle.
I just want some variance in how the U.S. is going to have to play in the group stage in order to get through. And I think that will prevent the U.S. from getting into a rut and maybe prep them better for what they would face in the knockout rounds. Should we get through, not cruise through. But isn't it interesting, though, that if it is Turkey, we will have seen all of these teams within a year? Yeah, it's very strange.
Like, I find that very...
Yeah, bizarre scheduling, but it's a weird old game.
Or there are other powers at work, but that's a whole other podcast. I mean, truly, we don't even get me started. Okay, so there's some other fun matchups for these UEFA playoffs. Northern Ireland versus Italy. Now, Italy is a storyline that I feel that people are going to be very, very invested in. Mind you, this is a former, European powerhouse. They won it in, 2006? 2006?
They won the World Cup in
2006.
They won the European Cup in 2021, right?
Yeah. God, yes, like recently, like this is like recently, and they are. I mean, if they do not advance, like this would be the second consecutive World Cup that they do.
I think this would be the third, right?
Qualify third?
Yeah,
they didn't qualify in 2014.
No, they didn't qualify in 18.
18.
They didn't qualify in 2022. Yeah, this would be 3. Yeah.
That is catastrophic.
Well, now I have to look it up to make sure. Yeah, they didn't qualify in 18, and they weren't in 22. Oh my goodness! Yeah.
My God. I mean, what? That feels. Oh, I mean, not qualifying for 2 consecutive World Cups feels catastrophic for Italy. This would be like, blow it all up. What the hell?
So I haven't done a ton of reading on this, but I think it was Nemanja Matic had he did an interview recently where he was talking about his, he's about 37 now, and he's got kids who are academy age, and he was like, I took them out of the academies in Italy because they do not teach the right things. They do not have modern techniques for how to get the best out of young players and prepare them for the modern game. And that's damning. Mm-hmm. Like, this is a guy who's played in all the top leagues in the world and some of the top teams in the world. And for him to come out and I think he's playing in Serie A right now. So for him to come out and say that at this point, it's really bad. And look, Italy's still going to be good because they do have enough of a culture, and they do have enough of a population, and they do have there's still some momentum, obviously, but they have lowered their floor.
They're no longer a team that people are scared of. That has completely gone away. And like, if you look at the quality of play in Italy right now, even in Serie A, like outside of like Inter Milan, like it's not very compelling. They're out of most, like in Champions League, like all the Italian sides are out, I believe. Yeah. I mean, like they're not competing at the highest European level anymore. And you just have to wonder, like, what is this crisis in Italian football that's happening? And what will it take for there to be this sort of renaissance of Italian football again? Because, I remember so well days when like AC Milan were, unbelievable and stacked with talent, and Kaká was playing there. And, it just doesn't feel like it's attracting that level of talent.
I mean, it's anymore. Not. It's not. It's like there's a very clear gap between, the top leagues, which are England and Spain, and then I think the Bundesliga are probably number 3, and you could even argue Ligue 1 has in some ways passed Serie A, and that's going to continue to be the case unless Serie A collectively modernizes their approach to academy development. And one of the things, we joke, play your kids. In terms of the top 5 leagues in the world, right, which is, we all know what those leagues are, Serie A plays by far the fewest domestic products, domestically produced kids, like 21 and under, by far the fewest. And that is costing the Italian national team cycle after cycle after cycle at this point.
Man, is Gattuso still the manager?
I believe so, yeah.
God, I mean, that guy, like, how infuriated must he be? Like he was like the poster child of just like brute Italian football. If anyone can bring it out of those guys, I feel like
they still have the brute part, but it's like there are no more compelling Italian attackers.
Nah.
Like, they do not exist. Like, we had Totti and Del Piero, and that came after Baggio, and really classy Italian. Obviously, Pirlo dictating from deep. Like this, they could play. Right? Mm-hmm. Like doing the Italian thing as I talk. They could play. They don't have guys like that anymore.
They do not.
They just don't.
They do not. They do have some Americans playing in Serie A, though. Like our guys are doing okay.
Yeah. I actually like it as a place for a lot of our guys, because I don't think Pulisic would be the centerpiece of a good Premier League team, and I don't think Weston would be either. But they're, they are where they are.
They are where
AC
they are.
Milan and Juventus, and that's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Okay, so let's chat about the U.S. men's national team, because we've got a pair of upcoming friendlies coming up. They face Belgium on Saturday and then Portugal next Tuesday. So this is basically going to be kind of the final tune-up, if you will, before the World Cup. I know they've got a friendly against Germany in June, but at that point, like, this is basically the last time for like guys to really impress, for Mauricio Pochettino to just solidify this roster for summer 2026. So we've got 27 players reporting to Atlanta in this window. I don't know, like, were there really any surprises for you when you saw this roster come out?
Nope.
I was sort of like, yeah, this is basically what I expect. I mean, I do fully expect like a Diego Luna to be included on this, but I know he's coming back from injury, so that wasn't terribly alarming for me.
Yep.
But yeah, I feel like this is kind of like, okay, like this group.
I think the biggest surprises were Luna, but then Pochettino explained that via, like, he's coming back from injury. He wants Luna to get fitness in. He said specifically, not being at this camp does not mean the door is shut on Diego Luna or anybody else.
Right.
That said, I thought Alex Zendejas would be here. And I'm a little surprised at that one, but not like shocked.
Not
like Zendejas, he's a good player, but he's just a guy. You know?
Yeah.
I think people were surprised by Gio Reyna. I wasn't. You were.
I was a little, only because Poch in the past has been so bullish on guys playing, like actually playing, and Gio just, he
doesn't play soccer.
He doesn't play. He doesn't.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he's continued. He's brought him in the last few camps, and he's made a difference. So like in one sense, I shouldn't be surprised, but I keep thinking like he can't be fit. Like, I don't know how, I don't know what his fitness level is.
He's Geo fit, which means he's fit enough to sit on the bench. Right?
So, exactly. And so I'm just thinking, are there better options at this point? Like, is he a reliable guy? And yeah, I mean, we've said it for so long, like, he is a talented player. He's probably, one of our best footballers. But there's just something off there where he's not getting minutes. He's rubbing people the wrong way. I don't know what the Gio Reyna problem is, but Pochettino clearly sees value in him. So like, I was surprised he brought him in for this camp. I wouldn't have been surprised if it was just like, oh, they brought him in for the World Cup roster as like a wild card kind of thing.
So that would have surprised me. Mm-hmm. I thought if Gio wasn't in this camp, then there would have been no way he makes the world. But the fact that he's at this camp doesn't surprise me at all, because he is just too special of a talent. And I said this on Soccer Wise last week when the roster was announced. Like, we're not Argentina, we're not Spain, we're not France. We can't ignore a talent like this just because he basically can't run. Yeah. I mean, he doesn't defend at all.
Yeah.
Those teams could be like, no, you're not making it, but we can't. And he showed it against Paraguay and Uruguay. He did.
No, 100%. And I don't want to take anything away from that. But if he, how much do you think we're going to see him in these upcoming friendlies? I mean, is this because it feels like it's like last chance saloon then?
Yeah. Oh, I think so. I bet we're going to see, if I put the over under at 65 minutes, I would take the over. Right. Okay. So two pretty substantial sub appearances. That's what I would expect.
Not starting, coming off the bench solely.
I don't think so. I think that would have more to do with worrying about causing an injury, given that he is. I wasn't joking about the Geo-fit thing. He is actually fit enough to sit on the bench, but he has not played for Mönchengladbach since January. So you don't take someone with that level of rust and throw him in from the beginning. But I do think you bring him on for the final 30, 35 minutes. And I hope that's what we see. And I hope he does well, because I think he's the most talented player in the roster. And I think if we're going to have someone out there in the end of games to make a special play in the round of 16 or in the quarterfinals, I think it would be Gio Reyna. Yeah. I love Diego Luna. There's a bunch of other really good players. It's Gio Reyna who has that kind of talent.
Okay. Okay, so against Belgium and Portugal, these are two pretty strong European sides, and it feels like it's a really decent litmus test for the U.S. in terms of going up against top quality talent in the World Cup. Like, how important? I don't want to say the results, but just the way they attack these two matches and the way that Pochettino sets them up. Like, how much do these two matches matter, Doyle?
It's tough to say exactly, right? Because they're still friendlies, and you don't want to over index on them for in one direction or another. Like, I'm old enough to remember 1998, the final big friendly before the World Cup was against Austria, and the U.S. won that 3-0, and they were dominant, and we all thought that was going to lead to the best World Cup performance ever, and then they finished dead last. They lost all three games. So you don't want to read too much into it, but at the same time, you don't want to read nothing into it, because every game is a chance to try something out. And what I like about this is Belgium are more of an open team, right? They want to crack you open and get out on the run and play kind of a free-flowing game, whereas Portugal are kind of the modern Italy in terms of game control and really tough defense and just making everything a grind. And that's two different kinds of challenges. And I'm really eager to see if the U.S. can take what worked so well last autumn against the likes of Paraguay and Uruguay and Ecuador and Australia and Japan and spin it forward into these games against European teams, because historically we've struggled against the big European teams, and these are two of the biggest.
Woo! It's going to be fun. What did you make of? I saw that Pochettino had a pretty strong reaction to kind of the way this roster is being covered right now, and basically like highlighting these players. And he basically said, "Yeah, this roster isn't finalized at all," which I thought was really kind of interesting. Was that just kind of him? I don't want to say deflecting, but like. Or do you think that he really is not set on?
No, he's not set. Bringing? But like, he knows 90% of the roster,
right? He has to.
Yeah. But he hit on something last year when guys like Pulisic and McKennie and everyone else at the top of the depth chart skipped on the Gold Cup and then weren't necessarily part of the rosters in the September camp and then the October camp, and it was the guys further down roster who had the bit in their teeth and started to prove themselves and started to narrow the gap in terms of who's our starters, who's our core players, and who is we perceive to be on the outskirts of the pool. But Pochettino made the point, there are no core players. Everybody's a core player. And I think that's what he's trying to make sure is part of the discourse still at this point. And so there's going to be some pressure on those, the ones we see as core players, to get out there, grab the baton, and carry it forward after, the last game out was one of the great friendly wins in U.S. history, the 5-1 over Uruguay, right? That is what they're picking up the baton from, and they have to bring it into these games against Belgium and Portugal.
Ooh, it's going to be fun. Saturday and Tuesday, y'all. Doyle, we're 80 days away. 80 days away from the start of the World Cup, which feels so insane. Also really exciting, because I know that we have been sort of waiting for summer of 2026 for a very, very long time. But we talked about nostalgia. We love those iconic World Cup moments. And we've been chatting a lot with people on Kickback Committee, especially, about their favorite ever World Cup moments. And so we've gotten Jordan Angeles, we've gotten Walker Zimmerman. So now we get to hear Matt Doyle's favorite World Cup memory. And I'm super stoked to hear this, because I feel like it's not going to be something that I expect.
So maybe not. So my favorite U.S. World Cup memory is the loss to Germany in 2002 quarterfinals. And it's weird because it's a loss, right? And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the way we played in that game against that Germany team. Ali Khan absolutely stood on his head. He was the man of the match. The U.S., though, just ripping them apart, creating chance after chance. Obviously, the Torsten Frink's handball was one of the. But like coming out of that game, I remember it was bright early morning, right? That was in Japan and Korea. I think the game kicked off at 5 a.m. I was at a bar in New York, and I was 26 years old. And I remember coming out of that game at 7 in the morning, drunk, and feeling like we just played like that in the quarterfinals against Germany.
Mm-hmm.
We're going places. We will be by the end of the decade, we're going to be competing for the world. And I just felt so good, and I have been chasing
it ever since
almost 30 years.
Oh my God!
So that, and then just like on a macro level, no athlete in history has given me more joy than Lionel Messi. And I'm not a Barcelona fan, and I'm not an Argentina, not an Argentina fan. I'm a fan of the aesthetics of the game, and no one has ever made this sport of ours more beautiful than Lionel Messi has. And when Argentina won in 2022, I tweeted something to the effect of, the game owed it to him to make him a champion. So and it was an all-time great game, right? Like that is maybe the best game of soccer ever played between those two teams. So I mean, I'm not a smoker, but I almost lit a cigarette and I was like, God damn, that was awesome. To see, so to see him finally, and like, it was ridiculous with the Qatari emirs and not the greatest, but like it felt good to see, like he deserved to win that trophy.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. Good Doyle. Yeah, those were good. And I love the Germany shout. I for exactly the reasons that you said.
You could find, if you're too young or you don't remember this game, you could find, there's a full replay of it on YouTube, and it's worth watching because the US played absolutely 25 years later, it remains one of the best games any U.S. team has ever played. And it wasn't just defending deep and rugged and hitting on the counter. It was like they were balling. Oh. They were using the ball to rip Germany apart in the World Cup quarterfinals. It was spectacular.
Getting fired up. It was iconic. Okay, Doyle, I love having a second team to cheer for in the World Cup. So obviously, like, I'm 100% cheering the U.S. men's national team, but I always like to have kind of a second team to root for. And so last week we had Walker Zimmerman on, and we were trying to come up with like deciding factors that could help guide people to their second team to cheer for in the World Cup. Do you have a second team? I know it's not Argentina.
Well, for a long time it was, right? Because I wanted to see Messi win one. Yeah. Right?
But now it's done.
But now, So I am a creature of pure aesthetics.
Okay.
Who plays the prettiest soccer? That's all I care about. I want to see soccer played that way.
Okay.
Win.
Okay. Well,
vamos España.
Vamos España. Okay, so this is perfect because this is going to fit right into our sort of BuzzFeed quiz that we're trying to help put together here. So Walker and I came up with two like sort of deciding factors for people to consider, and one was he likes an underdog story, which I think a lot of people do. Like, who doesn't love an underdog? So sort of the story around the team, and then also having some sort of connection to the country. Like, you went to Barcelona and had the best paella of your life and drank sangria till you puked. I don't know. I mean, like that type of thing. So those were the two factors that Walker came up with. So with you, one of them clearly is the
way they play.
The way they play. You want to see pretty football. So style of football. Yeah. Producer Douglas, I know, is frantically taking notes right now because at some point we're going to put this all together and have people like take this quiz, if you will, that will point them in the right direction towards the team. Okay. So style of play and how they play.
Mm-hmm.
We got to come up with one other one with you, Doyle.
Food.
I was either going to say food or booze. Yeah. It's either like food or alcohol, and it's one of them. So which direction do you want to go in, food or booze?
I mean, that's a really good. Boy, it's the toughest choice of my life, Sooz.
I know. I know.
Let's go with cuisine.
Cuisine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it's less about variety and scope of cuisine and more like, are there a couple of dishes that really set this country apart?
Okay. Are you taking into consideration like almost like the norms and the way like people eat? So, like in Spain, they don't eat dinner until like 10
Pretty
p.m.
late. Yeah.
Like, does that factor into the food situation, or is that a separate category entirely?
It's more of a larger cultural.
I feel like that's you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, which is also kind of worth considering. But if we're limiting it to 2, I think the actual cuisine itself is. It's hard to get away from the big ones.
If we were like, okay, like I like a very meat forward diet. So like then you're looking at like Brazil and Argentina and like things like
you're back to South America.
Exactly. Back to South America. If it's more I guess like seafood, and I feel like that lends itself to like the Mediterranean.
Yeah. I think so.
Kind of. Noodles, we're looking at Asia, rice. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I'm getting a sense now.
It's what I'm, and so I should have prepped better for this, because now like it's really hard to think of anything other than Spain, Italy, or Japan.
I know,
right? So it's like, I should have like what?
Do you like using utensils? There's a lot of countries. No, do you know what I mean? Like in Africa, they use the what's it called?
Injera.
Yes, and they like use it as like their spoon and eat it. And that's really fun.
If Ethiopia was in this thing, I would consider rooting for Ethiopia based on the quality of their cuisine for sure.
Exactly.
I'm looking at it now. There's not a ton. I just love Spain Portuguese and Spanish Portuguese and Italian cuisine. Not that Italy is necessarily going to be in this. There's not a lot in UEFA that's calling me. I love Ecuadorian cuisine. So this is actually something.
Ooh.
So I've moved, out of New York City and into the suburbs, but it's a suburb that is actually majority Latino, and there's a ton of Ecuadorians around here, including a couple of really, really good restaurants. And I do not know a ton about Ecuadorian cuisine, and I'm working my way through it. So, Sooz, I think we have found a team
I
for
love
me to
this.
root for.
I love this for you. I love this for you. So, vamos! I'm curious to what Ecuadorian cuisine entails, because like I love Colombian food.
Yeah,
right? Like, I used to live in a very
similar,
Colombian,
right?
and that's kind of where my mind goes. I'm wondering if it's very much in the same vein as Colombian fare.
Yeah,
which I really enjoy.
And on the other side, it's Peruvian, right? And we've all had
Peruvian chicken.
Peruvian, like
come on now, it's delicious.
Like if you give me something that's halfway between Peruvian and Colombian, I'm probably going to like it a lot.
Okay. Oh, Doyle, hungry. I feel like, I know. I'm starving. Just thinking of P.O.P.O. right now. Oh my God. Okay. Ecuador. I think Ecuador could be your shout. All right. So just for the record, producer Douglas, we have style of play and cuisine. Okay. We're very excited for this list.
And Douglas is in the chat saying we need an update on your next episode. On the next episode, you're here, Ecuadorian food review.
Exactly.
I am all in on that.
Absolutely, because I need to know. Yeah. I really, really need to know. All right, Doyle, before we let you go, we like to do a little reality TV roundup on Kickback Committee, because nothing says soccer like reality television. But there actually have been quite a few soccer connections in a lot of this trash that I'm watching. So It's not fully in vain. We talked a lot about Love is Blind, and this guy, oh God, this total D-bag, Alex, whoever on Love is Blind. Well, there's another show called Age of Attraction, which I've been watching, and it's basically like a dating show where nobody knows each other's ages, which is wild. Okay. There are some like 30-year age gaps in these couples, and it's insane. But there's a guy named Andrew Wheeler, and he talks about it. He was a former Whitecaps player in like 2008.
Yeah. And I recognize his name.
I was like, I've got to ask Doyle if he recognizes this guy. I asked Ian, and he was like, kinda, maybe. But yeah, he fully admits, he's like, yeah, my career tanked. He's like, I wasn't very good. I wasn't in a good headspace. And I was like, okay, man. He didn't try to he doesn't bring it up the way that Alec guy on.
Oh yeah, because I know that Alec guy became something of.
He's just terrible, But this guy was like, I was very curious to see if you remembered Andrew Wheeler.
So I might be thinking of a different Andrew Wheeler.
There is an Andrew Wheeler that played for Atlanta.
Yes, that's the one I was thinking.
Okay, this is a different one. This is like he's a white guy. He's got kind of reddish hair. I think he played either a winger or a forward.
Okay.
But yeah, his career didn't amount to much, which he fully admits. But it's still ringing a bell for me, but I'm gonna have to do a little bit of digging on this. Yeah. I'll send you a screenshot of what this guy looks like. Maybe it'll jar your memory. But I know you're not a huge reality TV guy, but I know that you are a big NCAA college basketball person, and March Madness is going on, and Matt Doyle, both of our teams are still dancing. And this is very, very exciting. UConn and the Fighting Illini going to the Sweet 16. So how are you feeling? You guys just beat UCLA last night. We're recording on Monday. So I think it was yesterday, the game against UCLA.
Yep, last night.
I didn't watch it, but what did you feel about UConn's performance against UCLA, who are a 7 seed, by the way? It's not like they were.
Yeah, I mean, I expected us to win.
Yeah.
UCLA's coach is Mick Cronin. He was never going to beat Dan Hurley in a game that mattered. Like there's just like that. It didn't. Getting to the Sweet 16 with this team is like the bare minimum. I don't think this is I don't think the UConn has a national championship level team. We don't put enough pressure on the rim, but it's really good. Like we can make the Final Four.
Yeah.
It's nice to be back in the second weekend again. Do you remember what happened the last time our teams were both in the second weekend? Made it this far?
What year was this?
It was just 2 years ago, Sooz.
2 years ago.
One of my favorite videos of all time is the UConn 30-0 run that we laid on your fight in Illini.
Do you know what? Oh my God, I blocked it from my memory. Yeah. I was traveling somewhere, and I was watching this on my phone in an Uber, like from the airport going home. And I was just like sick to my stomach, absolutely sick to my stomach. Was that the Elite
I wasn't.
8? Was that?
Yeah, that was the Elite 8.
It was the Elite 8. Yeah. Oh God, Doyle.
You guys had the second best offense in the country that year behind UConn. And God. I remember there was a lot of talk from Illinois fans heading into that game, and there was not as much talk from Illinois fans after that game.
Oh yeah, that was we got you guys wiped the floor.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair,
wiped the floor.
Three of the starters from that UConn team are like really, really good pros, like all-star on an all-star track in the NBA. So that's a really good team.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Illinois have been playing pretty well in this tournament. They lost to Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament. And I think that was almost a good thing for them, because I feel like it was a really good wake up call. And mind you, the Big Ten is loaded. Like good Lord, like between like Michigan State, Purdue, Iowa just beat Florida. I mean, like Wisconsin, like there's like really, really good teams in the Big Ten right now. So I feel like it kind of like gave them a little bit of a wake up call, because they were pretty dominant against Penn, and then they played VCU and like started great and then just like the second half of the first half, if you will, like they just kind of went like they were turning the ball over and got really careless. And then the second half they turned it on again. But they're so big, these guys, Doyle. Like they are a massive, massive, imposing team, and they can out rebound anybody. And if they can do that and continue to shoot well from the perimeter, then it's like, they're hard, tough to beat. But it's I don't know. Like I'm excited about them because they're really, really fun to watch, and when they're clicking, it's awesome. But then they're just susceptible to these mental lapses.
I mean, that's the nature of the college game, where it could just go up in smoke all of a sudden. Like one kid has a bad game, and like suddenly it compounds, and it's the big difference between that and the NBA. You don't see it as much in the NBA. So
it's so fun though. Like it's so fun when your team is in it and doing well. We've got to play Houston though next, which is in Houston. In Houston.
Good luck.
Tell me how that's fair. Like how did this
luck of the draw, Sooz?
Jeez,
luck
man.
of the draw.
Jeez, do you know what also I didn't know, which I should have, that Andre Stojakovic is the son of Peja.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until like 3 weeks ago, and I was
shoots like his dad too.
I know, but
pure jumper.
God. But he can dunk too. Like in this game against VCU, the guy was just like going to the hoop all the time and is strong. So I was like, damn, your dad didn't have that, but my God. So that was kind of fun. But there's a lot of the Baltic region is very well represented.
You guys are like
everyone's like. There's like 2 Ivasic's and a Stojakovic and a Petrovic and I don't know. There's got a lot. They did a lot of recruiting, basically. Overseas,
which was smart.
It's smart. It's working.
It's a unexploited resource, and
it is.
You guys are back in the Sweet 16.
It is.
So hopefully, we'll see you in the Final Four.
We'll see. Do you fill out a bracket? Do you ever do that?
I do. Not super competitively, though. We have a little chat with some friends that Tom is part of, and when Tom's involved in something, it always gets too competitive.
Yeah, so. I usually love filling out a bracket, and this year I like missed the email somehow from my buddy that always, and so I was like, oh damn it. So I don't, and in a way it's kind of good because I don't do well generally at these bracket challenges.
Well, I always pick UConn to win, so I've tended to do really well the past 15 years.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you. Me, not so much. Are you picking them to win this year? You said that you don't think they're a
No, I don't think they have I don't think they have quite enough juice. But like I haven't watched a ton of college basketball this year, and I'm just like, as I'm talking to you, I'm scrolling through the ESPN has a list of they ranked the remaining 16 teams, and they have Arizona number 1. And I watched Arizona beat UConn, 5 months ago at the start of the season. So it's like, okay, that sounds right to me.
Arizona, I think, is strong. I think Michigan's
huge. I know really, that.
Yeah, they're just like big bodies. Duke looked vulnerable in their first game, so like I'm not super high on them, but
I think their coach is overrated. So I think they'll lose.
Duke. Sorry. Oh, that was fun. Doyle, thanks so much for hanging today.
Always.
On the committee. Always so great to have you. You're the best. I'm excited to get all of your Ecuadorian delights.
I got a project now. I love it.
You have homework.
Yes.
But I feel like this is
delicious homework.
This is very good homework. Guys, thank you for tuning in and listening. Make sure, again, you check out all our other podcasts, Soccer Wise, First Touch Weekly, Open Mic. Download and subscribe all of them. Give us a follow on the socials. Find us on SiriusXM. And most importantly, tell your friends. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a fantastic week. We'll see you next time.